know me. They've never met me before. But my dad would go over there to talk to them, and they'd be like, do you have a daughter named Bethany? And they're like, and my dad would be like, yes, I do. And then they'd be like, well, we've heard her name. So I'm never going back to that place. But yeah.
And a side note, for the guy in black, he also wears a top hat usually, and he always wants something from you. He never leaves without getting it. He wants something from you. No matter what you think, it could be something good, it could be something bad. He just wants something from you.
And maybe he got it, because I don't see him that much anymore, or at all. I haven't seen him since we moved into our new place. But I believe that in the next place we moved into, which was a house on Nowell Street, I believe it was. You won't know what I'm talking about. But it was a little house, and it was just right beside the, it was beside the apartment building, which, yeah, we didn't move that far away. It was a little house, and it was perfectly fine for a while, but then something was going on in that attic. That attic was fucking creepy. We would hear footsteps upstairs. If anybody was up there, it would be freezing cold for no explanation. In the middle of the summer, when it's supposed to be hot, it was freezing cold. It didn't make sense. There was no real insulation up there, so it should have been absorbing the heat, if anything.
Yeah, I used to spend the night a lot up there. It didn't matter whether it was summer, winter, or anything. The whole house would be freezing. We would sleep in the living room sometimes, and our phones would be like sitting and charging on a table. But they would move across the room.
And they'd also have malfunctions, like they wouldn't charge, or they wouldn't work properly, or they'd like turn off on their own. And we found out later on that that is a sign of a
presence.
Spirit, a presence, as easy as we can say that. So I feel like, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that I might be a pinpoint to these spirits, but I definitely know I am sensitive, because I can sense them. I can sense things that I really wish I couldn't sometimes.
Yeah, and same here. We used to, at the place she lived to before she moved into her current apartment, it was creepy. There was no heat, and in the summer it would always be too warm for us.
Let me clarify, there was heaters, but they were only in the bathroom, the main bedroom, and the upstairs bedrooms, but there was none in the living room, because the owner decided to take out the heater in the living room and put a fucking fireplace that didn't work. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so basically we would sit with a space heater, but as soon as we would get warm enough, it would suddenly freeze.
And, I mean, yes, there was no heater, so you're saying, like, oh, of course it was freezing, but not immediately after we turned off a heater. It shouldn't get freezing cold. And then we'd also see footsteps. Well, we'd hear footsteps, and then we'd see the doors opening by themselves, because we had a mudroom in the very back that was a late attachment to the house. And the door would constantly open by itself, and there was no explanation, because the first time it did it, there was nobody else in the house but me and Kai.
Yeah, and we were sitting watching a movie, and all of a sudden we heard a door swing open. I looked over, because I was sitting on the couch closest to that door, and I said, Bethany, isn't that door supposed to be closed?
And I said yes.
And so I went up, I closed it again, I sat down, and we actually sat together and watched that door. And it swung open.
More than once. And it was at that point that we were like, there's something in here. And I mean, it would also, there'd be an uncomfortable feeling in that room. It would just be like, whenever we went back there, something would fall, something would break. It was just, the lights even broke at one point. I actually was going in there to get a towel from the laundry room, because that was where the laundry room was. And I fell off of the stairs for no unexplainable reason, and I got cut. I used to have the scar. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it was with there was some kind of, I don't know what it was.
Putty knife?
It was like a putty knife or something, and I landed on it. And that was one of the really scary experiences, because there was no explanation why I fell. It was like I was pushed.
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to let the animals back there, because the one time that we did, her older cat got extremely sick. He came down with a fever, but we couldn't figure out what was wrong with him, and neither could the vet. The vet thought it would be like a spider bite or something, but there was no markings, no nothing. He just got sick right away from that back room.
So I'm thinking whatever was in that house was probably against animals or against anyone. Maybe they believed that it was still their home and that we were the intruders, which, I mean, understandingly, because I would even find old letters, which I don't have anymore. But I found old letters from people who previously lived in that house, and I mean, I could see why they were upset.
And there's also supposed to be a basement, but we didn't know how to get down there.
Yeah.
It's like the entrance was blocked off or something, or just discontinued. Because we saw where windows were, and they were boarded up.
So it seems like the basement might have been filled. Maybe there's something underneath there. We never found out. But to this day, that house still creeps me out, and I'm really glad that we moved out before something worse happened. I mean, my one cat got hanged in the backyard. He was on a leash, and the leash wasn't that big. Like, it shouldn't have been able to go over the fence, but somehow it had gotten untied from the post that it was originally tied to, and he was hung. We don't understand it. There was no explanation.
And he was covered in drool. Like, there's no way that it was from him hanging there. It looked like he was battered by something.
So, I mean, that proves more that it was something in that place that didn't like animals or didn't like us. So we took that sign and we did move. And the current place I live in, I don't really sense anything, except for they have started renovations on a room down the hall from my bedroom. And ever since then, my new cat, which is, he's about 2 now.
He's 3.
3? Yeah, he's 3. I know my children. Shut up.
He's my child too.
3. So he's 3. And ever since they started the renovations, he just doesn't like the apartment anymore. He meows. He doesn't like being left alone anymore. He needs lights on. Yeah, my cat needs lights on. He does not like that apartment anymore, and I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on. I mean, maybe we're getting another visit. I don't know. But it's me and my parents, everybody in my place where I live are used to this. We've dealt with it ever since I was little. So, I mean, whatever it is, guess we'll deal with it.
Yeah, we've been dealing with it since the very beginning. And we've been, going day to day, hoping that it'll get better. With me, I haven't had anything like that happen again, where things have gone flying off the walls. But I sleep with a light on. Like, I have a little warmer from a place called Party Light. Hashtag not sponsors, by the way.
Great place, though. Buy things. We'll put the link down in the description.
Just so you guys can take a look. And it has this little light up owl, so I can have like a nice smell going through my room. But my room's always had a weird smell to it. Like, my mom and I could never explain it. And so I leave the warmer on and I'll fall asleep with the candle. And the candle light will flicker. Like, it's nobody's business. So we're thinking we might do a video in my room.
If you want to see that, I mean, give this a thumbs up, because we are really interested in doing more ghost-related things. We were going to film in a graveyard, but that might not be necessarily a good idea, considering we were going to try and do more of a
Seance.
Ouija board type thing. We may still do that, but we're definitely going to think about it, because there needs to be certain precautions. I mean, if you do things in a graveyard, it can be dangerous, because you're letting the portal open to anything, and it's more receptive. Also, if you are going to be doing anything with candles or Ouija boards or anything, you need to understand the rules. Never leave whatever you're using. Never. I mean, never. Because if you leave, something could follow you. If it's following you,
it
can
kill you.
Not a good thing.
It can probably kill you or cause accidents so you do get killed.
It's probably not good, and you don't want that. So, be safe, you guys, and I'm serious. Really, be careful. It's not a game. I mean, you may think it is, but it's not.
It's not a game, and if you guys are playing with candles or Ouija boards, always say goodbye and make sure that the ghost says goodbye too on the Ouija board. But if you're playing with candles, be careful, and if you're under the age of 10, have an adult supervision.
We don't need you guys burning down your houses and then blaming us. Don't do it. We're not approving that. Okay, so this has been Bet.
And Kai.
We did that backwards. That's fine. I'm Bet, she's Kai, you know. Okay, so we will see you later. thanks for joining us on Storytime.
Thanks.
Mwah.